Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. We've been discussing the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and going from their Division of Global Inclusion and Engagement. We'll now take a look at the Panthers basketball team. The NCAA Division I team competes in the Horizon League, and back in March, UW Milwaukee let go of head coach Rob Jeter after 11 seasons with the Panthers, and in April, they'll announce the hiring of new head coach LaVall Jordan. He is here with us today. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
It is a pleasure to have you here, and I should also say welcome to Milwaukee.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Before actually coming to our city, you were the assistant coach for Michigan, and in your 5 seasons in Ann Arbor, you helped the Wolverine program make their way to 4 straight NCAA tournament bids, which included a trip to the 2013 Final Four. So you come with a lot of nice little credentials under your belt.
Thanks. Yeah, no, my time in Ann Arbor was fun. So
yeah.
It's exciting to be here.
I'm sure of that. And so before we talk about the journey that actually led you here, let's talk about how important it is for you to take on a position like this, being the head coach of UW Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think it's something that as you're an assistant and you grow in your career, at some point you figure, you start to think about running your own program, and then you start to look at programs where opportunities that you may see as good ones and good fits for you. And this was always one that I had my eyes on. I'm familiar with the Horizon League, having played and coached in this league before, and so when the opportunity came about, it was one that I was definitely highly interested in.
Yeah, and part of the reason I wanted to have you here today is because this is a huge position, and it's really awesome for the viewers at home to know a little bit more about you outside of the game of basketball. So you also spent some time as an assistant coach at Butler, which is your alma mater.
Correct.
And then you were assistant coach at Iowa.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So I
want
want to know, when did you first fall in love with basketball?
As a player, at a very young age, like my mom told me that was my first word was ball. She was trying to get me to say light. She was pointing at a light bulb, but ball came out. So for me, it's been a long while. But coaching, I was a guy that wanted to play as long as I could, and coaching I always say coaching is a calling. And so around the end of my playing career, I played a year overseas in Norway afterwards, and a year in Huntsville, Alabama in the NBA D-League, and then thought, I wanted to get into something different. Didn't know it was coaching at the time, but had an opportunity to go back to Butler in an administrative role, and knew at that time, being back in the locker room, being around the players, and I couldn't coach on the court, but having my arm around a few guys as a big brother and a mentor, and then working with a lot of the logistics of running a program, that was when I knew, coaching was for me, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. And it's interesting that you were saying you wanted to play ball as long as you could. And really, that is the goal of a lot of young people that play ball. They want to make it to the NBA, but they very seldom think about those other positions that are within the game, whether it be coaching,
That's
assistant coaching, whatever, managing the team, whatever the scenario may be. But were you one of those kids who never really thought about being a coach?
Yeah, no, what, my dad was one of our high school assistant coaches, and he was involved in our youth programs, and so we traveled a lot as he was a mentor and a coach. But again, I wanted to play and use basketball is through athletics to get to college. It was a way for me to get out from a small town, Albion, Michigan, to get out and get to school and be able to get a degree. So that was a huge part of it as a vehicle. And then play as long as possible. But as you get further along and you start to realize, maybe that NBA dream is not going to come to fruition, you start to, look at other avenues to go into. And for me, like I said, I fell into coaching.
Yeah, and these days, young people who are playing at the college level, they have to realize there's a lot more competition when it comes to actually going to the NBA, because there are guys who are being drafted from across the globe.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. But there's plenty of other avenues to stay around athletics, like you mentioned, sport management. If you're going to be in the front office, so there's more ways to be involved than just playing, and I think a lot of people are realizing that now. So students come with a plan, and a lot of players and athletes and student athletes in other sports, they come with a plan to stay involved, in other ways.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a plan B, that's for sure. Now, you've gained national attention as a point guard guru. And that's a compliment.
Thanks.
You're getting your team ready for the 2016-17 season as we speak. So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to, and what are your goals with this team as your first year as head coach?
We actually will get on their court for our first time this afternoon. And so, you know, one of the major goals is to set a tone of habits and how we're going to practice, how we're going to go about our daily routines and carry ourselves on the court, off the court, and just setting that culture is a huge part of it. You got to have talent, no doubt, but you have to have culture, you know, as well. And so establishing those roots, we have some returners that have been around and been with us through the spring, so that we're speaking the same language and making ourselves, you know, more open and vulnerable to how we want to, you know, let go and put the energy forth each and every day. So just getting that habit established is a big part of the summer workouts. We get 2 hours a week with them right now, and so we got 6 newcomers.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad. Once the fall hits, we'll get 20. So now we've got 6 newcomers that we want to wean into, you know, our culture.
Yeah, and a few of those newcomers I just want to mention. Zach Sadler, Cameron Harvey, and then you've got Jeremiah Bell. And I have my eye on this young man simply because he's from my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. You tell him I said, rumble, young man, rumble.
Yeah, he's got a little, you know, he's got a little swag to him. Maybe it's a Louisville
He's got
thing.
the Louisville lip attitude.
He's got that. A lot of energy, you know, really engaging young man. So he's exciting. He's fun to be around.
Yeah, it's going to be fun just watching you bring this, I think it's safe to say, a new team, bring this new team together and really set the tone of what Panther basketball is going to be this upcoming season.
Yeah, and that's what, again, you know, to get to them now, and I told them the other day, you know, they get to define what Panther basketball is. Right? So when people leave the arena, you know, whatever effort they put forth, how they play, how they connect with each other, the passion that they play with, that's what people remember, win or lose.
That's right.
And they get to set that tone.
That is right. Let's talk about the importance of players excelling not only on the court, but in the classroom, because sometimes athletes forget that that's the main reason that they are actually there is to do well academically as well as on the court, the whole meaning behind student athletes. So what are some of the things that you push or drive home as far as excelling in the classroom?
Well, you know, Wisconsin-Milwaukee is a great university. You can get a number of degrees from our university. We've got great academic resources on campus as well as in the athletic department. So we have everything we need to set young people up for success. And we talk to them about the student part of student athlete every day. And they know in our program that graduation is an expectation, not a goal. So we set that tone early and do what we have to do to let them know that it's a priority, not just a responsibility, but definitely a priority. So, you know, we schedule around anything academically if we have to move things, just so that guys can take advantage and maximize the academic resources and get that degree. That's a huge part of, you know, most of them are coming to college. Some of them are first generation college students, and so we want to make sure that they get a degree when they leave here.
Now, what are your thoughts? There are a lot of young men who enter college, and some of them, I don't know if you see it as, it's fortunate from a financial standpoint, but a lot of them leave college early and go to the pros. What are your thoughts on actually kind of leaving behind that education and skipping on to the big league?
It all depends on the situation. Different young men do it. I've been fortunate coming from University of Michigan, where, you know, I have coached a number of guys that got drafted, and some of them leave for different reasons. I always say, hey, when it makes sense and when you know you're going to have the opportunity that you not just because you want to go, but you're going to have a career, not just get drafted. And that's what you want guys to leave for. And regardless of, maybe some students leave school early to start an entrepreneurship or go work with a company and leave a degree on the table in the other area, but it's going to end up in a long career at that level. And that's what you want, something that's going to last.
And some of them actually go back and finish.
That's right.
And I think that's the smartest move ever. But Wisconsin-Milwaukee is a member of the NCAA Student Athlete Affairs Program, and that's called SUCCESS, which stands for Student Athletes United for Commitment to Excellence, Challenges, Education, Service to Community, and Skills for Life, which leads us to your work in the community as a team. UWM has a student athlete mentor program that actually supports community outreach programs, and I'm sure the longer you spend time in the city, you'll become familiar with a lot of the programs. But there's organizations like St. Ben's Community Meal Program, Special Olympics, and MPS's after-school tutoring and mentoring program, to name a few. And I recently met you at Juneteenth, which is a huge community event. So how important is it for you as well as your players to be involved in the community?
I think it's huge. You know, we wear Milwaukee on the front of our uniforms, and so to be out and in the city of Milwaukee, in the community, to be able to connect, just have those real conversations with everybody that's from this city and is proud of being from this city. So it's big for me and our program, and then our student athletes. Appreciation, Andre, is one of our core values, and I think appreciation builds perspective and we talk to these guys about not taking this opportunity for granted. And there's a ton of young people that would love to be in your seat. And when you get out into the community, you get to inspire young people. You get to see some people less fortunate and help them and serve and realize what you have and try to, you know, take advantage of that opportunity, because you know there's plenty of people that would love to be in that seat.
Yeah, and it's just something about people making that connection and feeling like they know you, and when they come to the games, they're like, that's my boy.
Definitely.
It really does make a difference. And speaking of being in the community, wanted to mention coming up on August 29th, you have the Panther basketball golf outing at North Shore Country Club, where you're going to have an opportunity to meet a lot of Panther fans and supporters. So this is just the beginning of a lot of things that's on the agenda outside of basketball.
Yeah, a lot of big events. I've been enjoying, you know, been at a number of events thus far, meeting people like yourself and others. So it's been fun for me. It's a whirlwind now. Today is day 83, I believe, since April 8th when I was hired. But
who's counting?
It's been fun, but who's counting? So these first 90 days are blowing by, but it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Now, and I think the one thing that works to your advantage is that you sound like you spent a lot of time in the Midwest. So you at least, you and your family will not be shocked when the winter sets in.
No, we know that part.
You kind of know how that feels.
We've got winter coats. Zach Sadler's from San Antonio, so he's probably got to buy a winter coat.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to school him on how to survive in the cold here. But I really am happy that you have the opportunity to be here and become a part of the community and take Panther basketball to another level. So congratulations, and again, welcome to Milwaukee.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be here.
It has been a pleasure talking to you. And of course, LaVall Jordan is the new head coach of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee basketball team. For more information on the Panthers basketball organization, log on to mkepanthers.com. And that is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.